Hey everybody, it's Pat Jones. I'm back again with another Turf Zoom from our friends at Aquatrolls. And today we go all the way to the West Coast to talk to our friend Joel Kachmarek. Joel, how are you?
I am spectacular, living the dream.
I think you can tell a lot from somebody's Twitter profile. When I looked at your Twitter profile, you state that your location there in Tacoma is heaven on earth. You also make the crazy claim that you're the oldest club west of the Mississippi. Sure. Okay. It's a nice idea. I'm sure there's some evidence of that. And that you have the most adorable Twitter avatar, which is a beaver with a chainsaw, which pretty much describes a lot of your career at Tacoma Country Club. Maybe you can start out this little adventure by talking a little bit about Twitter and why you found it useful over the years and what it's meant to you.
Well, I remember I started my Twitter account because I was adamant that it was going to be this really useful tool to communicate to my members. Quick blasts like, there's a frost delay today. Make sure you call the pro shop, or hey, we're going to aerify fairways 3 and 4 today, or something like that. Just to kind of be really open and transparent about what's going on out here on a daily basis. And then when you get in Twitter, like most people that start on Twitter, they realize very quickly how addicting it can be to gather and look at information that other people are sharing about turf. And then it became so much more than a communication tool for my membership. It became more of, where you're kind of a voice to more of the world than you are just, a small little group. So it didn't end up being what I initially, set out to do with Twitter, but it certainly has turned into a lot more than I thought.
You're telling stories that you want your members and other people to understand about your operation, and that's a conscious effort. That's not just random. So it's tree removal, it's improvements on the golf course, it's sort of progress as promised to your membership. So it seems like you're accomplishing a lot of other things.
I definitely try to make sure that my tweets have good content. I just want to give you kind of some cool info about something that's on the golf course that's relevant to you if you're a member at my club. And if you're not, then it might be interesting to you because you might find it useful to see that I'm removing this tree to save this other tree, or look at the great results of this tree removal project that we did 3 years ago. Look at the results in the turf grass quality, or something like that. I try to keep it super relevant.
21 years at the same club is remarkable.
Well, now 25 plus if you count me as the assistant. I was the assistant.
No, we're not going to count that. That doesn't count because that wasn't part of my research. I didn't know that. So 25 plus was really remarkable. But what do you think has changed most when you look back at that time period? What's changed most for you as a superintendent?
No question. It's the transition of being in the dirt with your hands a lot to now it's more of a people management position where you're doing administrative stuff, whether it be with your staff, it could be HR related things with staff, or it could be administrative stuff with members of the club. And I, one of the things I think that's good and bad is the power of the computer and email. I think, I started as a golf course superintendent before email existed. Right. So, email has changed our lives dramatically, in that now all of a sudden I'm completely reachable by members, whether they're complaining or asking questions or something. That used to be a lot more difficult before email. And so, to come in and instead of grabbing my cup cutter and going out there and getting on the golf course, you've got to sit down and address some of these emails, or you're going to look like you're, just out of touch. I mean, you have to respond. You can't just let these people send you a message with no response. So you're I think I spend probably a first hour of my day just going through email stuff. And that it just wasn't like that. When I first started, I was out there mixing chemicals and, getting in the dirt. And I think that's what attracts a lot of us to the industry anyway, is just that, hands in the soil. We're all kind of green thumbers, so.
I hear that from a lot of folks that, I got into this business because I liked working outside, and now I'm stuck inside all the time. So what are you going to do?
So that's been the biggest change, I think, for me, is getting used to indoor stuff. And I gotta say, I actually kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's a tough balance, because I enjoy all the aspects of my job.
As you've moved over the years and been in one of the most unusual climates in the world, one thing that you told me earlier is you've become a Revolution guy over the years, that's been a go-to product for you. Tell me about how you've used it and why you choose to continue to rely on it.
Well, I started using Revolution kind of right when it came out. I used to be the other Aquatrol's products I've used too, and other manufacturers' products. And I keep dabbling with other products to see what's out there. But I find myself always coming back to Revolution because it gave me the relief from dry spots or, hydrophobicity, but also it allowed me to have a firm, surface where the ball would have that spring and that bounce that we all love in golf, right? So that was the only product that I thought gave me both, a complete package. And so I started spraying Revolution, and then realized that the product works best when it's put down with a lot of water. So then I started actually injecting it into my irrigation system, which is not something that Revolution is marketed as an injectable, but if you dilute it down, if you cut it with water, you can get it injected. So I did that for several years. And then now I'm kind of back to more target spraying with it, only because my irrigation system isn't the best. And so if you're going to inject, you can only inject as good as your irrigation system is. And so if your distribution and your irrigation system isn't the greatest, then your distribution of Revolution isn't going to be the greatest. So I'm still playing around, always playing around. But Revolution has been my go-to wetting agent for sure.
Yeah. I can't remember how long it's been since it came out, but it just seems like one of those products that ever since it came out, it's just been right there for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there. It measures up against anything else. And now Aquatrol's, I don't know if you know, but I'm a Redox user, and now Aquatrol's has Redox. They have a partnership with Redox, and so that's kind of interesting. So now I'm a huge Aquatrol's guy because I'm a huge Redox guy.
Right. And so when did you start using Redox? What was how does it fit in your program?
I was looking back through my records to find when I first started using it, but I started using Redox before they came up with any flowable products. I was using Redox back when it was a dry product, and it was really neat because it came customized for your turf conditions or your soil conditions. And I always thought that was really, really neat. But now that, Redox has kind of changed a little bit when they went to the flowable stuff, and the flowable stuff is great. They're great products. Right. And so I've just been kind of partnered with Redox all along, just kind of going with them as they've been exploring this turf thing, because, Redox has been a company that's been in ag for a long time. Right. And so when they started dabbling in turf, then I've just kind of stayed with them on this journey because they've been changing their products and my dog is getting really upset back there.
That's what Turf Zoom's all about. Got to have the dog.
Yeah, well, that dog, and she wants to go outside, I think, but she's going to have to wait.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Redox. Now I've got another reason to be an Aquatrol's lover.
And what does your program feel like with Redox? What's the general kind of prescription that you're using?
I keep it pretty simple. I mean, Redox has a lot of products that I don't use, but one of the things um, that I've been a believer in is Nature Cure is a product that they make. I don't know if you know much about it, but it's an interesting product. I did several years of testing with it with nematode counts, and I'm a true believer that nematodes are more of a problem than people really know, especially with poana. I think that, or annual bluegrass, that, it's already got a very weak short root system. So any type of nematode activity, even if it's not to a threshold where you see damage, is not good when you're trying to produce, high performance turf grass. I mean, so I use Nature Cure to suppress nematode activity, and it's a great product for that. And I've proven it with my nematode counts that it does work.
That's great, and I agree. 30 years plus of listening to this topic in the industry, the nematodes we're just beginning to figure out how damaging they are. And in parts of the country, we never really thought about it. So one thing we talked about earlier that it always comes back to in this business is people, and how you've been kind of managing your people through the pandemic. But also, it's hard to find and recruit and keep good people. What are some of your philosophies about that, and some things that you've tried to do to get a good team together and keep them?
That's a great question. It's been really difficult lately to keep full-time staff here. We've had a lot of pandemic-related absences, and so it's been a challenge to find people that can come to work, and because they feel like they're not at high risk or for whatever reason. But one of the things I look for in people is whether or not I can get along with them, because I can train anybody to do what I require of them, but I look for more of whether or not they're going to get along with the other group that's already here. Because if you get one person on the staff that is a little off as far as just a little, I don't know how to say it, but
kinky is a good word.
I mean, there's a certain chemistry that you get within your staff, and you're really, you feel that teamwork and that groove going when people are just like really excited about the product that we're producing. And then also we like to have a lot of fun. So if you don't like having fun, you're not going to want to work for me, because we joke a lot. And I think this is pretty normal around the industry too. There's a lot of, harassing of, jokes and just having a good time at work.
Right.
We really enjoy our job. It's like, it's just fun to be a part of such a, big piece of property and such a big mission as taking care of a golf course. It's just, it requires a village. It really does. It takes a village to run a golf course. And so I love that aspect, that you got these guys that, like a mechanic, he loves to turn a wrench, or you got guys that love to cut cups because they like golf. And then you got these guys that don't golf at all, don't even care, but they still love the aspect of that fresh cut grass smell in the morning or something like that. But everyone's got their little thing that they're adding to the chemistry of the group. And, so I look for that right away. If you're not going to get along with the staff, then I'm not going to hire you.
That's a great point. And I think you are right. Is that finding a balance of characters, and hoping that everybody gets along, and that the sum is greater than the whole of the parts. Hey, I can't thank you enough for your time today. This was really fun. And I wanted to give you one last chance, though, to say anything you'd like to say to anybody out there about life in Tacoma and what you get from this profession.
Well, I think a lot of people think that I live in Seattle, and Seattle is kind of a interesting place right now. If you're paying attention to media, there's a lot going on in the city, and it's not really like that where I live. I live about an hour south of Seattle, and it's just a great place. I love being here. When I said on my Twitter handle that I live in heaven on earth is my location, and I really believe that. I love Tacoma Country Club. I love the community here, and I feel very blessed to be part of the turf grass industry. And you know, you and I have talked personally a couple times, and so you know what I mean. I just feel like a super blessed person, and I really appreciate you, you know, giving me time and to visit with you today, and just thanks for thinking of me. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for being part of Turf Zoom, and I appreciate you giving us your time, and I know the folks at Aqua Trolls do too. So have an excellent day, and I hope the season is terrific for you this year.